All right, guys, we're gonna get this weekly outlook going. This is gonna be a slightly short one because I will be stepping away from the house here momentarily. So this will be a quick one, just going over my favorites, going over the top pairs that I trade, and I had this recording to y'all shortly. All right. So with that being said, starting out with Nasdaq and indices, I'm actually a bit. I'm not gonna say conflicted, but I am curious to see what indices will do this week because the war has effectively started up again for the 30th time. The U.S. is back to bombing Iran. The MOU is no longer I guess, active. The Memorandum of Understanding. So with that being said, now that the ceasefire is over, I'm very curious to see what the response on indices will be, right? Will we get a short? Will we get some sellers stepping in, or can we anticipate the market to continue to go bullish, right? Now, if we are to have some sellers step in, what might that look like? All right. What might that look like? We have a high over here, okay? We ran through this previous internal range liquidity, which caused the temporary sell-off right here, right? And even after that happened, I said I wasn't really a big fan of the ace anymore to take the ace from here, just because the market had wicked down and made a strong low here. So I would have been more interested in the sales or the aces above these highs here until this strong low got put in. Now, granted, the market wicked down because Trump started tweeting again, right? So, regardless of the reason, the price pattern is still the price pattern. So, the fact that this strong low got put in with these weak highs, I actually, ended up taking a little buy in here and, held it to the end of the week when the market closed and caught a little move from here to about up here, which I was happy with. But now that it's a fresh week, what might we see? Okay. Can the war starting back up give us cause to sell off? Right now, when I look to the left, obviously, we have a high here that gets swept by these highs here. We do see volume step into the market. We have a bearish footprint. We have a little hesitation in that wick, a little more hesitation here. So with that being said, it's like I can see the possibility of us getting a sell-off, but I'm not necessarily saying that it'll be something that's long term, right? Do I think we'll get something along the lines of this, retracement, maybe to clear out some of this internal structure, possibly, okay? But I do think that we'll eventually turn back around at least to get up here. Now, if we get into this green zone, then I see a bigger sale taking place, right? If we could reach this green supply zone, I wouldn't be surprised to see the market actually create a new leg to the downside, but we just have to get up there, right? So for now, I'm hoping, right? Obviously, the things that's happening around the world, globally, that could throw a wrench in our analysis just a little bit. But I'm hoping if I'm just looking at the technical analysis side of things, I'm hoping we can get up to this green supply zone. Because if we can, then I'm not going to be really conflicted at all. But between which side of the market I should be entertaining, right? Because right now it's like I could see the potential for a sale, but I could also see why we could keep buying. And it's because, we have a weak high up here and we have internal liquidity over here. So it's like, as much as I think the market could sell because of what's going on, because of the war, I don't want to, I prefer not to sell just based off of a technical standpoint, right? Because, I don't like to be in a seller's market until I reach my internal range liquidity. And then that just makes everything easier because now everything aligns perfectly. So in a perfect case scenario, if I'm not paying attention to everything going on in the war, I would just look for, a continuation of some sort, shallow retracement, continuation, right? Just allow that order flow to continue. And once we get up to the green zone, we could sell. But be aware that once we clear these highs out, there is a chance we can get, some sort of retracement that could take us lower, or it could just bounce right here and go straight to the upside. All right. So keep your eyes open for that. All right. Now let's go ahead and take a look at gold real quick because we took some buys on gold on Friday, and then the tweet actually knocked us out, right? At break even, which was so unfortunate because this is a super easy buy. Very nice continuation, Hezi crossover buy, right? As you can see, we got a strong Hezi here, right? Market crosses over, gives us a weak Hezi, crosses over bullish. So we use that as the internal range liquidity that's going to fuel the higher low. On top of that, we do have a bullish footprint right here that the market filled perfectly. So we ended up taking buys right here initially. All right, and the market started going up, right? Trump sends out a tweet, and then the stop loss or in profit, right? We moved our stop loss to break even. That actually got hit, and this candle happened so fast. I wanted to give y'all the buy down here, but by the time I even noticed, the market was already starting to rebound. And you got to be careful when it comes to gold. Getting a bad entry on gold can ruin your whole week, right? But I did say, if you're comfortable having a much bigger stop loss than originally planned, you can definitely take some buys out of this, and it'll probably end up moving. So we ended the week about 270 pips. All right. Now, where is this market going? I still believe we have more upside. All right. I definitely believe we still have more upside. These highs are toast, right? We could see that very easily. These highs are not going to hold, right? Nice sell opportunity right here, though, on the lower time frame to take us back into the higher time frame Hezi crossover. So you see the lower time frame Hezi crossover leading into the higher time frame Hezi crossover. So now that the higher time frame one has been activated, this lower time frame one will become future liquidity. All right. So keep that in mind. We're gonna target these highs for sure. Up here, I believe we have a trap that we're gonna target as well. All right. But at the very least, you want to secure some partials right here because we do have some resemblance of a Hezi crossover right there. And if that is the case, then you got to anticipate that there's some money right there. And there'll probably be some profit taking. So we'll probably push up, hit this area, then profit taking a little retracement before we continue back up and target this high up here. All right. So again, a lot of this is going to be predicated on what happens across the world. It's a very volatile, time in the world when it comes to the wars. It comes to everything else that's going on. So it's harder to make long-term predictions, which is why I'm more of a fan of just lower time frame execution, right? Executing in areas where you're very likely to get a big enough reaction to either take profit or to, at the very least, protect your entry, right? I feel like that's a lot easier in an environment like this where you never know what the president's going to say, you never know what he's going to do, you never know what's going to happen in terms of war. We've ended the war 30 times already, and that's not exaggeration either. There's actually, a montage out there, a video montage of every time the president said we won or the war is over, right? Literally over 30 times just in the past few months. So it's almost as if, the market manipulation is happening on purpose. It's kind of like every time he says something, you could only take it with a grain of salt. But even knowing that the market is still going to move because of who is saying it, regardless if it's a lie, regardless if we all know it's a lie, the market still have to move when he says something that is that impactful. So when it comes to this type of stuff, like I said, the safest thing I believe anybody can do is trade on the lower time frames. So that way you can avoid all of these surprises. Like even this surprise here with the wick, we had a perfect entry down here at this low. So by the time the market got up here, we were already break even anyway, right? So these random wicks and these random spikes of volatility can't really hurt you if you're playing the lower time frame and you're going break even as soon as you can, right? But with that being said, if you did happen to either hold this or get back into this trade, I do feel like you have an upside target of about, 41, you could say 41.50 if you want a round number. Something more specific would probably be 41.48 point 0.5 ish around there, just 41.48 flat. All right. But overall, I believe that'll be like your first real target. But overall, I would not be surprised to see us break highs above 41.80. Okay. Above 41.80. I think that's very doable for the price action that we're seeing on gold. All right. So definitely keep your eyes open for that. And I would definitely keep holding. All right. So with that being said, guys, as I explained prior, this is a rather quick weekly outlook. I just wanted to kind of go over the main things that we look at when we're live trading. Obviously, there'll be more opportunities in the form of signals and things of that such. And I'll just kind of keep those posted throughout the week as I see them develop. But in terms of a, weekly outlook on NAS, gold, our primary pairs that we look at when we're trading New York Open. Those are the main things that I wanted to cover today. Again, I do have to run a few errands today. Sundays, they can get a little hectic. It's like family day. And, when you have a daughter and you got grandparents, everybody wants to see you. So I'll be moving around. So I wanted to go ahead and knock this call out quick before I knew I'd be busy for the rest of the day. All right. So hopefully you guys got some value from this call. The recording will be uploaded momentarily. And I'll see you guys this week on our live sessions. All right. Peace.